himself showing up with the Twitch chat support.
True.
That counts for a lot. And they have Gabby, who I consider one of the most weird carry players of the past 2 years, and this guy is a huge tempo creator. You take a player like that, put him in the off lane, give him a hero like Primal Beast, anything can happen. I don't know if they're that unfavored here, Cap. I feel like this match is a lot more even than I think people are going to give it on the scorecard, particularly if Tundra don't begin to find their footing, which has been hit or miss for them with this roster that they're trying to gel with super fast, right? Sure, you can put a player like Thompson into this team, world-class player, world-class lineup. How fast can they make it work, especially in a lower bracket elimination game?
Okay, well, we heard from Entity's coach. What about Tundra and their feeling post-draft?
One last thing, guys. We have been practicing for 2 months, and it's time to just play the fucking game. Honestly, we are really fucking good. If we don't overthink things, just play the fucking game. Do whatever you feel like. Gonna go good.
It's good to see that even TI winners need that boost of confidence and remind themselves they're really goddamn good at the game. And it's a surprise to be seeing them in the lower bracket here. And that is probably something that shakes their confidence. And I agree with you. I think Entity, they are certainly no pushovers, and they are a team that is probably going to test Tundra, especially a team who hasn't really experienced too many lower brackets in their history.
No, arguably had the most dominant TI bracket run of all time, right? So this is new territory for them. But it is familiar in the sense of, you know, we had the NADBC yesterday, and now we get some European DBC the gameplay today. These are two teams that are very familiar with each other, and sometimes in that interregional matchup, things get really weird. So I would not be surprised if these games go long, especially since we have, you know, a NAGA SIREN CK game. Both these illusion carries making their way back into the meta, and for good reason. You control the lanes, you control the map, you control the gold and the equilibrium. It tends to work out for you in the long run, especially with how these games are being paced.
Yeah, and Entity, no strangers to long matches at TI. After all, we heard Tsunami alluding to it earlier. Their best of one against RNG last year went 107 minutes. So we do end up having a long one. Entity is more than prepared for that.
This is a game that's going to get stalled out for sure. And it might be some early action on the lanes. I mean, you have very strong kill lanes, a lot of early synergy, and I feel like a lot of the tempo is going to come down to mid. Normally it's these offlaners, but you have a Stormer Invoker versus a Thompson Pugna, two Grandmaster tier heroes here. You can't really ask for anything more signature. And it's just going to come down to which of them gets to control the early game a lot more, in my opinion. Does Thompson get to play the aggressive Pugna with the Grimstroke combinations, rotating to these towers, getting early pressure, or do you get first blood on Fishman himself?
Well, second blood anyway was Fishman giving up that first blood earlier when we had that listening, but good to see he's able to bounce back. What do you think about this 9 Weaver anyway?
It is a hero he's been going back to over and over again. I don't know if he's getting the exact results he wants with it. For me, it's been a little hit or miss, but I understand the power of it, right? If you get into that mid game in a decent position like the Furion, where you're very high net worth on the hero, you just become a 4th core. It's a scary 4th core hero.
Sure. And
that's, I think, how Tundra prefer to operate. Let Thompson make a lot of the space on the map. 9 can become that secondary mid on some of these huge scaling supports like the Shadow Demon he's also liked. And suddenly you're just playing up against too much scale for you to conquer in the late game.
One thing that's kind of curious to me is that in the past, when we saw Weaver support, people like to be able to run it with physical damage dealing cores. And here, yes, they have the Chaos Knight, but Pugna, Sand King, really not going to take advantage of the Swarm too well.
No, it's not the best Swarm game, but I mean, Swarm is
turn around, Gabby fighting up against Skeeter. Skeeter's going to just try and man up and see what he can do here. Runs into the brambles, and that's enough for Gabby to get away. Scot-free with the kill on Skeeter, going to Kataomi.
He's going to throw the blood grenade just for harass here. Yeah, you have to back up a little. A lot of resources committed from Kataomi, but happy to get this trade. CK down. Really nice for Gabby's tempo here. And we've seen Primal Beast go first phase for a reason. You give this hero a fast start, he's going to be able to combine with Stormer and take the fight around these runes, around the aggressive jungle areas, and scale into the CK as well. Both these teams have really addressed the illusion carries.
Going at it again in that top lane. Pivots, goes to Kataomi instead. Hits him with the Inkswell, but he's already disappeared into the Shadow Realm, and Gabby's going to go back for it again. A second time. That's because Fishman has made the rotation, unable to quite get any extra damage in, though. They're relying on that third person to change the narrative here, and now Gabby is in potential to be run down by 9. Gets him with the blood grenade. That's enough.
Big Gemini hit. Level 3 paying off here for 9, especially with his grenades. This is a great blood grenade user in the Weaver. Just chase people down with the Swarm. Grenades slowing them even more. Get these big hits in. Nice counter rotation from Tundra, keeping Skeeter in this lane. That would have been a debilitating death, especially with teleport on cooldown, as Stormstormer flees for his life.
Well, you can see pretty
the
clearly.
better of this matchup.
Yeah, this matchup is going the way of the Pugna for sure. And Stormstormer,
he's going to get him here.
got him on the swarm, TP away, a desperate one for the blood grenade again comes through. The extra damage that's required. Thompson thanking 9 for finishing what Thompson started.
And now he's just going to get free runes here, free rain, extra tower damage. Waves are going to go straight into Stormstormer's tower. He cannot TP back for this disaster on the mid lane. As we were talking about which of these mids is going to get the better of the tempo. Well, it is already Thompson on the Pugna, and he has a lot to combine with. Like this Grimstroke Pugna combo, this goes back to OG at TI and TI9, right? He is very used to playing this. This is the strength of the hero in Tundra's lineup. When Snaking starts to move around, you have Sand King to go in, set the stun up, make the team fight easy. And I want to point out that there's some hidden scale in this Pugna with the new Ags where you reduce spell damage on enemy heroes.
Yep.
The debuff lasts a long time. If you go in the fight, you ever get this late Ags, you start channeling it on a Primal, channel it on an Invoker, even for 3 or 4 seconds, it's like you get hit by a Mage Slayer or something. It skews a lot of these magical damage cores going into the Pugna, and this tower's just gone at 5.5.
I mean, is this one of the fastest towers down in this tournament? It's gotta be.
That is the fastest for sure. Thompson draining his mana pool to take the objective, and he really wants a 6-minute rune.
It will be a haste rune going over to Stormstormer. He'll take advantage of that to help run down Snaking. And he'll get the bounty rune before he falls. Stormstormer gets some much needed golden experience to help him recover after a really rough laning phase against Thompson.
He's just going to probably just go Vessel into the Midas here. You need a recovery Midas at this point. Way too much has been taken off the map, and it's going to give space to Thompson. This is where his next decision, pretty important for Tundra's early game. Do you want to rotate this Pugna? Do you want to just keep farming it up mid? Probably not. It's probably going to be into bottom, right? Play through the Sand King, kick the Naga out, take another tier 1, and just open up the jungle super early. Snaking can now just leave, play with Thompson, get that combination going, especially if you get Wisdom Rune for an early Grimstroke ultimate. Fishman eyeing it up.
They know he's here, so they're going to bide their time. Wait for the 7-minute where he pops out. Yeah, they went for the smoke over, but I think they felt the rotation was going to land in time. Fishman desperately trying to get that Wisdom Rune to spawn, but it will not show up in time for him to seal it away.
Yeah, let him bottle it. Nice little core.
That is very nice. I think they know Fishman's game. I feel like every game I've ever watched of Fishman, he makes that move.
This man's not afraid to die, so you may as well take the risks if you're not afraid of death, right?
True.
Be level 5 for 9 here.
Sand King is not a hero that we've seen a ton of, but 33 is making it look good so far in the laning phase. Top net worth, and straight up rush into Vanguard, so now he's kind of untouchable. He's going to go into Boots of Travel, Blink Dagger as his options next. Did you like the Sand King pickup when you saw it?
I think this was a pretty good spot to pick it, because they knew the lane was going to be free. I mean, it's an ancient apparition. There's no way they're kicking 33 out of this lane with a strong support in the Weaver. You know he's going to eventually kick the Naga out as well, even if you wanted to leave him in the one-on-one. And then he just overtakes your jungle, starts clearing through stacks. You even have any.
Watson does manage to dodge the blast, but he's running into Snaking. Now the rest of Entity was on their way. Can they bail out their carry here? 9 is going to try and get him with the Inkswell, and that's going to be enough damage. But at the same time, Thompson does die, and he was probably worth far more than the Naga Siren was, and they're going to clean house on this one. What a read from Entity.
Gabby shows up at the right place at the right time, and that is a lot of extra XP and gold for Stormstormer, who needed it. That's where that first rotation with the Pugna. It's a double-edged hero, right? You're just so damn squishy if these fights end up behind the towers in deep areas where Entity can bring reinforcements. Thompson doesn't get anything done with that early lane advantage. We're all evened up again. So sure, you got this tier 1 mid down, but mid's a different lane than it used to be, right? I don't feel like this tower just debilitates the map like it used to.
Yeah, it is way more side lane focused because the map has grown bigger. We see a lot more focus on these deeper side of the map neutral camps rather than the ones that are closer to mid. Less focus on the triangle, which mid lane is usually pretty good at helping to control.
Exactly, Ancient shifted away, so all these little things draw you to the sides of the map instead of mid. This tower was nice for Thompson, but it is not the end-all be-all here. It's going to be a lot about these fights, and all of a sudden, Entity strike back big, and I mean, their cores are in solid positions now, right? Skeeter was still suffering up top in this matchup because Snaking left it early. So Tundra, they're going to go back to what they've done all year, which is out efficiency you on the map and get the stacks going. Probably for 33 here, who is always been the main beneficiary of the ancient cap progression on the side of Tundra. Wouldn't mind the fast bots idea here if you're just planning to scale. This is the build that will help you go late game against the Naga Siren. You're looking for that Ags, Shivas, maybe even Radiance if you're really feeling it.
I feel like we haven't
right clicker though.
Seen like a big boost in Boots of Travel purchases from before the map was enlarged, but it's got to be way more value, right? With the way the map is bigger.
I mean, I always like this item.
Yeah. When did you ever buy it?
I liked a lot of the items I never got to buy. A man can dream.
Yeah, you always want what you can't have, I suppose.
I mean, I think the Boots of Travel are just nice on some of these melee heroes that like to run around in the middle of the fight because they get stuck there. Like, extra move speed is no joke in terms of dodging some of the primal spells or getting out of an AA vortex.
Sure.
There's some value here, and he's still top network on the Sand King. Particularly if he wants to join fights like this top, the bots would make a lot of sense. As Skeeter has just been hounded up top, he's trying to defend this safe lane, not get too much room to the primal beast. At which point does that break, though? At what point do Entity feel confident enough to try and kick him out of here?
I love that neutrals can defend themselves pretty well from now on. Armlet built up is going to be the play, but Entity still seem to be just, like, they may have countered Tundra's move beautifully, but they haven't really made much aggressively themselves. They seem to be still in kind of mode recovery.
I think they're happy with this, though, based on how that mid lane went initially.
They're not happy with losing their Spirit Vessel completion.
No.
That's rough for Stormstormer, who's probably just ready to make a big move.
And they're just going to go top. I mean, the move for Envy is to this top lane. It's to kick Skeeter out of here while he's still here, only level 7. They have a huge amount of magic damage to throw into him, including this Ice Blast that Fishman just picked up. You have to be careful if you're Tundra in terms of who you're showing on the front line, because there's a lot of long-range magical bursts. You throw down a Vortex, Gabby charges in, he could potentially have Bedlam on top of him, and then an Ice Blast gets thrown on top, right? I mean, there's a lot of long-range artillery here for Entity to just throw in a core without committing to the fight.
And the anti-healing is a big factor, right? Because they have so many...
Absolutely.
Like, there's the Inkswell with the Shard later on. Gabby charges.
Oh, you went
forward.
late on the
He's silence. He's going to be in trouble. The Sand King gets the jump, and a beautiful jump at that. 33 closes door on this fight before it even begins. Gabby and Kataomi are probably going to be run down as well. At least one. 33 with a third number there. Triple kill for him, and Gabby hidden in the trees will barely survive.
That was a guaranteed fourth kill if you saw him, so that is just almost an ultra kill for 33 out of nowhere, putting an Epicenter to better use than I've seen in a long time for a level 1 spell, and now they're going to steal Ancient attacks on top of it.
Tundra
he's out of control already, right? That was about as good a Blink reveal. We were talking about him going bots and like, let's defend the safe lane. Insta-buys Blink, 1130, gets a triple kill into Ancient stack steal, and now he's already up to 1750 gold again. That Blink just literally paid for itself.
Yeah, you know, Tundra, when we talk about farming efficiency on the map, especially Ancient stacking, big deal for them, we usually talk about it on their own side of the map here. Them taking away Entity's farm is just going to be so debilitating. A big pickup, though. Dobson, he'll fall trying to pick up a power rune, but 33 is going to show up and maybe get a rebuttal here. There is the Bedlam outlet. The Nether Ward is doing some serious damage. Can they finish off 33? No, they'll both die under the Sandstorm. And Fishman's going to get run down. No tower to protect you here. 9 gets a double. Tundra will go ahead and defend Thompson's honor.
That move top just cost Entity so much in this game, because all of a sudden, your Weaver is ahead of the enemy Invoker here. 9 got a huge amount out of these skirmishes. Full Solar Crest done. A very nice item he can throw just for the bonus armor on these frontliners here. Thompson's still struggling against the AA Blast. I mean, it's hard to just man up in the fight with a hero based on healing.
Gotta get away before Skeeter can grab you.
This is turning into 33's game right now. He's about to run away with it on a hero that conventionally does not run away with games, right? This is not supposed to be like an Axe or something where it's mega fat, you get crazy Blink Strike team fights. It's a hero that has struggled in the meta, and he is well out ahead. So can he continue to transition into something, and can Entity kind of stall Tundra's momentum right now, get back in this game, bring Stormstormer once again back into a position where he feels like he can have an impact here. This move top is still looming for Entity. They just can't open up the tier 1s right now, which if you can't open up the tier 1s for a Naga lineup, there's just nowhere to go.
Smoke rotation from behind, grabs the 2 supports. Picture perfect for 33 once again. We do have Watson close by, might be able to help Gabby get out. Yeah, he's gonna use the song, forced to use it.
I don't blame him. Put 33 to sleep here and get the hell out.
This man's just fighting too much.
It's making it look too easy, right? It's just smoke in with like max Inkswell and the Sand King. It's guaranteed chain stun based on how you can cast it now. This combo is even deadlier.
Oh, that is a cute move. He may not be able to get there in time for the stun, but the extra movement speed helps him close the gap on Watson. Watson, of course, using the song to help others. No longer has it to save himself.
9 just setting up everything. One of the best killers in the game. Reads Thompson, gets down there immediately. Reads Watson. Wow, now you're messing me up. Too many suns in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Arcane Rune for Thompson. That is very scary. Even scarier, BKB is closing in soon. Once he has that, they have nothing to stop him.
Yeah, counter smoke from enemy. And a lot of the good kills they've gotten have come off the back of Fishman getting in there with an A blast, just taking down a big core. So it's got to be Gabby setting it up. And
oh, that would have been fortuitous if they rounded the corner and grabbed that bug in time. 9.
The smoke is just difficult. You look at the map, I mean, where's the Radiant Vision right now? You have one obs around mid, and that's all you see.
And now Entity is here in force, but so is Tundra. And the way things have been going lately, it seems like Tundra are going to clear house on yet another team fight. Kataomi does manage to stop Thompson there on the side, but Gabby's already dead. So these two supports are left with no cores to help them. Nice TP away from Kataomi, but it still hurts to watch your primal beast, the big playmaker you have on your team, fall once again in these team fights.
It feels like you just need BKB, right? Or a heart, something to tank all this magic damage coming out from Tundra, because once they set up the zone of control with Sandstorm, they drop a Pugna ward. You know there's this Inkswell proccing on somebody that you don't want to just linger around. It's hard to commit in, even with a Blade Mail in the highest strength gain in the game. Again, you just got to go back to stalling this game out a bit, get to your next set of items. But right now, 33 dictating where these fights are happening with all the initiation power, and he's still holding this top tower. This is the part that's causing so many problems on the map. You are getting constricted quickly here as 9 running in mid. Another great Inkswell target, by the way.
Maybe Watson, though, finally showing up to one of these fights. I mean, NAGA SIREN is not supposed to have to be active, but it does feel like a game where Entity is going to rely on him earlier than they should.
He can have good impact versus these supports, even versus, you know, the two beefy boys if he finds them with this Orchid second, which he's considering. I agree, like, you wouldn't want your NAGA to have to be this active, but it might be a game where he has no choice.
Magic burst damage, it's going to be trouble. He's not living through this one. He didn't even have Song of Siren back up again. If they could catch 33 on its way out, unfortunately, Tornado totally blind throwing that one out did not clip 33.
Again, the Vision's just not doing any favors right now. The Vision's supposed to come off the NAGA being able to shove the waves. Instead, they're getting shoved into you. You can't get really deep observers down because you don't control more objectives on the map. Got to work with what you have right now. And every time Watson goes down, that Orchid gets delayed, which means it's a chance for Dispel items to come out on the side of Tundra, make it less effective. Kind of racing against the clock here in terms of can NAGA drag this game back for the team.
Stormstormer's going to be trying to drag back his own net worth into a somewhat decent position. Again, he's behind 9's Weaver. He's completing the Hand of Midas now, but it's going to be a long road for an Entity comeback if it's even possible.
Well, definitely possible. You just can't get dragged into too many bad fights.
Sure.
33 will go back for the pipe as well, so he's going to, you know, maybe skirt a little bit around scaling directly into NAGA, but this is a really nice item for the team in all these engagements. You're looking at basically only magic damage for Entity.
This might be for the best. Fishman tanks the death instead of Gabby, who they were setting up on for sure.
That was a valuable death.
They going through the portal, trying to get out of here. Tundra are in pursuit. Might be able to find one more. Yep. Kataomi does manage to get out the Shadow Realm before the Silence Air goes for the TP, but the Inkswell can stop it at any time.
33 continuing to control both side lanes here. Would not be surprised to see Tundra continue to try and hold this top tier 1 as long as they want to.
Another example of desperation, calling for some moves you wouldn't normally see. Stormstormer trying to cut waves because the NAGA Siren just cannot do it by himself, but Tundra had this map locked down.
Just nowhere to go. Even Thompson playing aggressive mid because he just rushed BKB. I mean, this is not a greedy Pugna build at all. This is, okay, you have an AA blast, so what? I'm going to stand here, not take any damage. He's going to abuse the fact that that tower went down early and just play solo. Everything is going through the Sand King right now, so why not gobble up some extra waves? And again, you're talking about this Orchid threat on the Naga. I mean, there has to be some threat that NA set up here in the next few minutes. It can come from the Primal Beast with Bedlam on top, Vortex. There's still a lot of long-range magical bursts.
Getting some more aggressive wards down. Wards that have stayed up for the most part. They still have that deep ward on the left-hand side of the map on that ancient camp. So Tundra is having so much information on where Entity is and where they're not. Nobody's bottom right now, so free damage on this tier 2.
And Orchid is completed. So ideally, Watson, he gets to shove some of these lanes in. That top tier 1 did eventually die to creeps. Open up a bit more space. You can maybe get this primal BKB. That's your big timing. I mean, the BKBs are great versus Tundra's lineup. It negates pretty much everything if you can get there.
That ward, it's gonna pay off. Got him after the Manta. 33 has the Inkswell to chain the stun onto his epicenter. Beautiful stop, but if Skeeter could die, oh man, what a dodge! Gabby charges right through that red flag, and now Skeeter can continue to chase down, surviving through the Ice Blast easily. Tundra, this is just absolute domination.
There's just nowhere to run. Even 9 looking for Storm with the dust. Just want everybody after these fights. And again, if that connection with the Primal does not hit, I mean, your team fight's basically over. You have to be able to land this Onslaught Pulverize on a big core target and just follow it up with all the spell damage you have. It's another engagement where Stormstormer doesn't even really get to use this Vessel in anything.
At this point, if they had Hero to take the Tormentor, they'd be taking even more away from Entity. Beautiful stuff. I mean, this is like a relatively old school. Once Grimstroke got put into the game, this was one of the first combos I remember with Sand King Grimstroke.
It's a great Grimstroke lineup. Tundra really showing how this hero can just enable everything at the same time, right? All 4 of the other heroes are great with the Inkswell or Grimold combination.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, this Sand King one's just even better that you can perfectly chain stun it now.
9 and 33 are apparently able to do this. I mean, the Swarm actually helps you out quite a bit in being able to do that, right? Tormentor can't kill it, so you're just getting constant minus armor there. Gabby in some trouble, needed to be able to get his BKB. He was closing in on it too. 400 gold away, now knocked down to 600 gold away, and they are going to take that Tormentor. There's just no doubt who's in control of this game right now. Tundra choking Entity out.
Heart for Watson? Heart, is that your go-to now?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be way behind the hearts of both Skeeter and probably 33. They're both going for it.
I mean, has Watson even gotten on the dire side of the map this game?
Not really, no.
Like, sometimes you can get deep in the enemy side, start cutting waves, but I think the early bots playing Sand King is just too afraid to go for that type of smoke enemy jungle type play. You just get kicked out immediately.
Even if they caught Thompson, he's got a BKB. The only thing that could actually stop him from there is really, realistically, the Pulverize.
Nice little net.
Yeah, they'll get the Grimstroke at least. Spirit Vessel just to make sure in case the Orchid wasn't enough. Stormstormer will nag that last hit. 15,000 net worth lead for Tundra at 23 minutes. Working towards, as you said, 9's going to scale up into a 4th core for Tundra, which just makes this lead all the scarier because they're going to scale really well into it. He's building a Gleipnir on this support Weaver.
Another Orchid, though, does not have a Dispel, and you're gone. That's a 5x streak, 1,000 gold in the enemy's pocket there. So Watson making this Orchid net work on the heroes he can find to make it work on right now, which I guess is pretty much everybody outside of Thompson with the BKB. The pipe on 33 many didn't go for a Lotus, for example, and we have Manta on Skeeter, but you're not really going to find Skeeter in this game no matter what. So you can keep finding some supports, find even the Sand King with this Orchid, get a few more cheeky kills out of it. Suddenly, Watson, number 1 on the net worth chart, could stall this game for a really long time.
They really are banking hard on him. We saw Thompson now has his shard, so really easy way to deal with mass illusions, but it's going to be caught here. Forced to use BKB. Tundra are there in with some reinforcements. They're going to easily kill the Dark Willow, holding for this Roshan, I believe, as it's going to go over to the other side in 1 minute, but Tundra are clearly strong enough to do it on the Radiant side if they want it.
There's capability to take this fight. You did get to the BKB on Gabby. I guess if it switched, it might have even been more likely here. This is not a fight you can take, but the fight capability is slowly going up. They even got a gem. So this is Entity preparing to try and win the next fight at all costs. So they have Vision of the Sand King guaranteed when Gabby goes in with the spell immunity and just try and put it to as much use as they can.
Oh, he almost sniped it.
That was pretty close.
That was pretty much the only thing you could hope for on the side of Entity is that they snipe the last hit on Roshan and get that bounty away from Tundra, get a little bit of gold into their own pockets, but not the case. 33, he's going to have hearts. Skeeter completing that as well, and now has an Aegis. These are going to be some tanky heroes. No BKB, of course, on Thompson right now, but not enough heroes around on the Entity side to really make much of a fuss, threatening the Terrorize, but actually gets pushed back and pulled back in then by Skeeter.
You have a shield rune on Watson. I think Entity were debating to fight this, especially if it's behind the tier 2 here. Just gonna have to give it up though. Still, Stormstormer getting some pressure top. I mean, hey, this is a Radiant here on the dire side of the map, so small victory. The rat action begins.
Little by little. It's really Entity's motto at this point in time, as one tier 2 remains for them. And all these towers are constantly being defended by Tundra. Besides this top one, it's really the only place the NAGA SIREN and this Invoker have managed to hang out for a while.
That's the thing, it does have to kind of eventually be Stormstormer who carries this game, as much as he's going to have to come back. You cannot rely on the NAGA illusions in the fight. You have the Pugna AoE ward off the shard. You have a Grimstroke who can eventually create his own illusion off an Ags. You of course have Sand King who's just going to create his own control that Tundra can sit and not really care. NAGA illusions are not going to win you this game, even if it gets stalled ultra late. It has to be the 2 other cores coming back at some point off a team fight. So that's what you're looking for. Wait out this Aegis and get something going on the map. Right now, Skeeter happy to just force the issue with his 2 lives on the heart. BKB done for Stormstormer, so that's second BKB here. Again, these BKBs are really good in these fights. Not a lot of physical to throw through outside of you getting reality rifted off of a swarm bug.
Yeah. Tundra, it would be pretty early to be hitting high ground for much of the games that we've seen anyway. Nobody really wants to hit high ground unless they have an overwhelming advantage, and Tundra do kind of have that already. They have 2.5 minutes to make use of this Aegis.
Would that be the ultimate reverse trap card? Tundra ending the games early. Nobody saw that one coming. As they're going to push 27 minutes, Tops and Pugna sieging your high ground. I mean, okay, they gave up on the siege. Let's just commit the course. Daring Entity to go on their front line here.
And it looks like Entity may not oblige. Okay, they're going to smoke up. They're going to try and do something here. They're going to pop the glyph now.
I mean, you have to take this fight. This is Tundra just daring you. And if you're not willing to take it, what are you doing in
They're actually going outside of the base goal for 9 instead, who is cutting the mid wave. This shows how little faith Entity has in being able to take these fights. 9 may end up falling. They just need a little bit more damage. Please tell me they're going to get something out of this. Okay, they do. Meanwhile, Watson was trying to push some of the heroes away towards that bottom lane, stop them from being able to get here. But they're here now. 33 is going to make jump forward. BKB immediately activated by Storm. Storm will protect himself from these stuns. They'll lose their support, but maybe they can get even more. Immediately an Orchid placed onto the Sand King. Remember, he is tanky with that heart, but they have plenty of damage thanks to Watson now being here. They might just be able to cut 33 down to size, trying to get away over that haste rune. No such luck. Thompson turning it around. Great Nether Ward with but a song. Uh-oh. We got some heroes with BKB. Thompson probably activates his. Immediately tries to get away. Stormstormer into the invincibility. Kiting out Skeeter nicely. The Pulverize is going to be able to grab Thompson while he's magic immune. They know that magic immune is running out soon. Thompson needs the help. Where can he get it? He's not going to get it anywhere. Entity somehow making this comeback work for them.
Even got the Weaver buyback that turns into absolutely nothing for 9. Just crushed his economy. Gabby finding the openings, a nice smoke flank. Honestly, I think they were thinking they were going to have to go all the way around Tundra and look for the smoke from behind. Instead, they just found the Weaver mid. Might have just been a better case scenario. They also got snaking with the Invoker BKB, so both supports out of the fight initially. That's what you're looking for if you're Entity. And Watson, sure, you lose that Rax bottom. I mean, he can't defend it on his own, but you're happy to make that exchange, right? Your Aegis didn't even do anything there. Skeeter's still holding on to it.
Yeah, I mean, you were in it for the long haul. Now we have an 8,000 net worth lead that was cut down from, what was it, like 16? Maybe even more? I mean, Tundra was way, way far ahead. All they got was a melee barracks? I think that's totally fine for Entity.
Should have listened to themselves and not gone high ground.
Exactly. Learned your lesson. Never go high ground.
Now you get some breather. You get to deward some map with this gem. The deep ops for Tundra that were locking you down, suddenly they're all gone. And it's Tundra who lack the vision right now. They're going to have to force the fight blind. Will pick up Skeeter's BKB.
Yeah, much needed since that second life did expire, so.
Yeah, he is still very big. That is the one thing that Entity were not able to address in that fight is Skeeter. If he was able to just sit there and take it, in terms of going on them, it would look very different, especially with a double damage rune. That certainly will help the next engagement.
Yeah, a little bit. Entity probably still planning on dodging unless Tundra tries to hit the high ground again. After all, they're closing in on some pretty important items. Gabby the Heart, Invoker trying to get that Aghanim Scepter. Actually went Blink Dagger instead. I thought you needed just more firepower, just more damage against this double Heart. What do you think he's trying to reap out of the Blink Dagger pickup?
I mean, Invoker's damage does come from spells, right? It also comes from just being in there with BKB Alacrity, right-clicking people. Blink allows you to do all this instantly and maximize the time where you have the debuff immunity versus a lineup that kind of relies on you not having it in order to lock you down. Sure. Like, these BKBs are just so valuable for Entity. You need to make the duration they're up work for you and get as much as possible. That's why taking out the supports is nice. You take the Grimstroke out of the equation, suddenly you not having BKB isn't as big a problem because you're removing so much of the control and so much of the combinations in terms of double suck, double stun, all of these stun chains. In some ways, I think snaking is the best target to take out of the fight first, unless you can just kill 33 off the bat. And honestly, 33's item build this game, he had one of the craziest starts on snaking we've seen in a long time, but he transitioned it into Pipe Heart. And what these items are great for is that like early high ground timing, going with the team, sieging that base, saying, go on me, my regen's gonna be too much for you right now. It's not gonna be some early like Shiva's Ags that would have dealt with the stationary fight into Naga, Invoker, post BKB, that type of thing better, right? He's pretty susceptible to getting bursted from physical damage. He just doesn't have any armor. He even went for Yules. So a lot of extra utility and Dispo on the same compare. You're looking at 10 armor with bonus from a Cloak of Flames. You start getting hit by this Alacrity, you're gonna melt.
Yeah, we saw that in the last fight anyway. Second round of Tormentors are coming up, so Tundra will take theirs first. And at this rate, they're gonna be capped out on.
Surprised
Skeeter doesn't have his.
Surprised he didn't try and solo it. Just for the highlight reel.
Later on, Aghanim Scepter, he can do it.
And he's going that Axe. So pretty interesting to see him go this. I think it is one of the unexplored areas of Pugna in the current patch. Just being an anti-spellcaster, not off of the ward, but off your ult. It's not really how people perceive the hero, because a lot of these matchups are still seen as more okay to play as long as you have BKB running in, right?
Yeah.
But this Drain, it gets rid of a lot of the damage on Entity's side, particularly in the Primal Beast if Gabby just goes in. So I like that Thompson's going back.
Whoa.
Okay.
Careful there. Can't afford any more Tormentor deaths. I hope that's a stat they put in future Battle Pass compendiums. How many players are going to die to a Tormentor?
How many of those were Fishmen? That's what you wanted to follow up with.
Yeah. Bloodthorn now done for the Naga Siren, another big item pickup for Entity. Does also mean there is a bit of a downside to this Naga Siren being so far up in the network chart. Does mean he is going to be capped out kind of soonish. You know, he only has that one slot that's a Wraith Band slot, and you start getting some diminishing returns on any of your follow-up items from there.
Yeah, it's interesting he completed the Bloodthorn. I almost think the defensive value in it is better than the offensive amp here. Right, like him getting that Mage Slayer build-up, getting extra magic resist, that seems really nice for his Tundra's line.
Yeah.
Whether he can actually get in here and use an active off it, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Dispel building up.
The Ice Blast on cooldown. Tundra is more than willing to take the fight. Katomi's going to be in some trouble here. Zelfuel's trying to protect him, get off the Terrorize, does get in onto 3. Groups them up together as a result, and Watson Gabby immediately pounce on this opportunity, taking out the back line. Thompson and Nines Weaver are both dead. Meanwhile, Skeeter is trying to do what he can, but he can't really touch this Naga Siren too much. Song's going to go out. The BKB means that only his hero can do the damage, so the illusions are rendered totally futile. They don't do anything, and now with 33 caught in a corner, he's going to try and burrow strike over the side. Just for TP out, but they have the vision to be able to stop him. Katomi's going to make sure he stays dead with a buyback and Yule's usage. 3 dead on the side of Tundra. Heroes that do not have buyback. All of a sudden, Entity went from, okay, this game could be over by 20 minutes or something, to now they're going to even out the net worth lead. They're going to get the Aegis. They're going to get the cheese.
These EFPs with the suck on them, they're so annoying. It ruins your positioning in a lot of these fights, just dragging you into awkward positions. But the biggest thing here is Katomi with this Terrorize on 3 pre-tops and BKB. He got nothing off in that fight, just did not see it coming at all. And all of a sudden, you're just stuck in a bad engagement where you don't have the damage to take this. I mean, Skeeter's BKB is great here. What's it doing? Absolutely nothing. Naga's just healing through everything. And 33 never even gets an epicenter off in this fight. A lot of things wrong on the initiation there for Tundra, and maybe not respecting the turnaround potential. Especially going up the hill like that. This is the type of game where you'd rather get these BKBs out from Entity and then take the fight afterwards. I think just running into them and taking that into 8 seconds where they're happy to sit there and hit you back. Yeah, you've been ahead this game, but you're not that far ahead, right?
Sure.
Your items don't count for a lot in the physical man battle here because it's only Skeeter during that duration.
You think that Ice Blast being on cooldown just wasn't enough at advantage for them to like force it? They need to take more methodical fights, which we've known Tundra for.
I mean, there's definitely some misexecution there, right? Like if Thompson gets BKB and he gets all his spells off, that can look very different too.
Sure, yeah.
All these things are like a bit hindsighty, but they definitely got clumped up on that ramp and they got punished hard. And all of a sudden, you're looking at a 1K game with an Aegis on Watson. And this is where that Bloodthorn feels great because now he can just go in and start manning up on people. It doesn't even care if he dies.
And now the Naga Siren illusions are strong enough to really start taking some map control away from Tundra, whereas before it felt like so much of this Pugna and Phantasm illusions running down the lane were actually securing more. Aghanim Scepter almost done for Stormstormer. So if you can get the lockdown, especially since the Ancient Apparition got the shard, right, you could have the possibility of hit him with the Ice Blast while the Sunstrike Cataclysm is raining down on him. That by itself is going to be enough to wipe out the supports, maybe even more.
I can always sleep Kata.
Yeah, absolutely. Sleep Kata Ice Blast for sure.
I don't know if that's what you really want to go for, but you can pull it off if you're good enough.
I mean, the offensive sleep, and then they immediately come out like Thompson's going to use the BKB. That's a dream for Gabby. Because Gabby's like, okay, you used your BKB.
Yeah, that's the
I'm going to slam you into the dirt now.
That's why the BKBs are so powerful for any. If you just go in on Gabby, BKB'd, and you start pulverizing somebody and you drop a Kata there, what's the counterplay from Tundra?
Yeah, I mean, their whole counterplay is,
I guess it's
like the
Spell Shard
heals, right? It's the Ink Swell that heals and also Hard Dispel. We also have the Pugna heals, but the Ice Blast counters so much of that. So.
I mean, I guess the strong Dispel from Snaking is becoming more and more important.
Yeah, it is.
Like, throw it on the Sand King, throw it on Skeeter, and let it break some initiation chain from Entity potentially. But a lot of their spells that they're throwing out are just AoE, right? Like, we saw in that fight, you get hit by a Terrorize, you get hit by like Ice Wall, Song, the Onslaught through, these Ice Vortexes. None of these spells really care about you getting a strong Dispel on one of your cores. Outside of maybe the Orchid. That's one of the things that honestly has caused Tundra more problems than I thought would have in this game, especially with the timing that Watson got it at. But he's been catching these Weavers, catching heroes without the Dispel later on in the fight. It's just sealing the deal. And now you have an Ags on this Primal. A lot more AoE magic damage coming through.
Yeah, in that last fight, the Terrorize set up Gabby to get in there, but his AoE damage was nice. When you get Aghanim Scepter, you can actually start soloing heroes.
He's going to be a problem.
These long, drawn-out fights that were supposed to go the way of the double heart pickups of the Chaos Knight Sand King, now going to start playing against them when a Primal Beast is getting round and round after his Aghanim Scepter. Gabby, a smoke runs into Thompson, but on the other side of the trees, they don't see him and do not react accordingly to catch him.
Remember, this Primal Beast still has a cheese from this Aegis. He's a great cheese target. There's no real anti-healing on Tundra's side.
Yeah.
He should almost guarantee get it off in this next fight. He even went Martyr's Plate for the extra tank ability and resist.
I like that. Jump forward here. Did manage to find the real Naga Siren. Not that Tundra is going to do a whole lot with that just yet, but if they can kite it out a little bit, Skeeter jumping pretty far forward. Got grabbed by the Pulverize before he can get off the Phantasm. He's dead.
Skeeter, you are not the one playing with your food anymore. You are the food. Lingers way too long. No BKB, no Phantasm.
Got the silence, now the song. Looking to just grab as many heroes as possible. It's only going to be this Weaver, but they also spot Snaking there in the corner. Nobody has the mobility to stop it though. Thompson, smart move. Smokes up with the ninja gear. It immediately runs down the mid lane, knowing that losing their carry puts them in a position where they could be losing barracks. He's got to get out there and cut the creep waves as long as he doesn't get caught in the process. Stormstormer knows he's around here somewhere. Misses the tornado. Thompson deeper into the trees. If he got caught there, if he got spotted, he would die. He does not have his BKB.
And this is where some of those Pugna games just start to feel bad, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason we don't see this hero a lot. It's because when the games start to go wrong, it can go really wrong. And you can't rely on him to just play a defensive-oriented Pugna with saves on a core because that AA blast is always there. There's a lot of interrupts from Invoker. Becoming a very tough game for him, despite having a tremendous early game here. Thompson struggling to make his impact felt in these fights, outside of dropping on Nether Ward and hoping it's enough. Entity have just reversed all the momentum in this game, and now they're the ones with 10k gold lead. It seems like just cruising into this ultra late with the Invoker scale. And there's a reason this guy's got almost 3,000 games on it.
The Invoker scale, I mean, we were talking about it early on of like this hand of Midas, will it get the Invoker back into the game? A little bit doubtful that it would, but he got there. And now, Kataomi, who also went a hand of Midas, he can also be a scaling factor for entities. So it's not like it's really going to be stopping anytime soon. He's got a hand of Midas and as part of the components to his Aghanim Scepter in his gold bank right now. So
from bottom 3 to top 3, Stormstormer's journey in this game has been everywhere. But he has found his footing now, and he's just in the late game.
Tundra will let that momentum slip. We're going to try and claw back with the smoke forward. A jump onto Gabby. A hard hero to bring down.
They got 9.
Plenty of chain stuns. Yeah, they did find 9, and Gabby gets a half health before he has to use his BKB. Now he's going to charge back in with the Gold Scepter put on Thompson. BKB, Inkswell, both trying to get him out of there. What a grab there with the Soulbind, though. Double stock going out. BKB from Stormstormer trying to get him away. Well, Watson protects his heroes with the Song of Siren. Activates it now to be able to
BKBs are down.
Straight for this Chaos Knight. One-on-one, this carry battle, it is no match.
Stormstormer, 200 HP. 33 got frozen. Could not finish this Invoker off.
Even the supports are surviving through this one. Thompson in trouble with Gabby and Watson surrounding him. Finally, jump forward from 33 will help finish off the Ancient Apparition, but he's being kited around now. A stun on its way, hiding underneath this sandstorm. Desperate, trying to keep Entity at bay, but they will come and hit hard with Gabby. Charging straight through that sandstorm and flattening the Scorpion.
That fight almost got turned off of a crazy sandstorm in the back off 33 and a great leash from Snaking. But honestly, these BKBs are just doing way too much for Entity right now. And Watson, there's just nothing controlling the Naga in the fight. He is putting out the most damage right now, just shredding people. Too many problems to deal with right now. I mean, which fire do you try and put out first? And all of it went on Gabby at the start. That is just not the target you want to be going on if you're Tundra. And one Gabby is very happy to tank up with this Martyr's Plate. Didn't even have to use the cheese. I mean, it's just heart regen with 5,000 HP.
We're seeing this carry matchup. I mean, the moment we got the butterfly on Watson, things really did start to turn. Yeah, Skeeter can get an MKB, but it's really not doing much for you when this battle is an illusion battle. Not a hero versus hero. It's all about who's using those illusions more effectively.
And the Hex on Watson, I mean, that fight started off with 9 getting nothing off. He was trying to scout, play aggressive with BKB. It's another instance where a hero on Tundra with BKB that is supposed to guarantee them an entrance into the fight doesn't even get it off. The initiations have just been all Entity for the last 20 or 25 minutes here. They will reap their reward as they get a full lane and 2 tier 3s.
Game started with Tundra taking one of the fastest towers in the tournament, taking one of the fastest barracks in the tournament, and now they're the ones dramatically behind. 21,000 net worth lead for Entity. A full lane of barracks down in the bottom lane, and a Roshan fight that they have to contest, but have no momentum going into it. Skeeter, his smoke breaks, and immediately the retreat.
And this is just Tundra hoping the smoke works out. Hoping that Skeeter can somehow create some sort of opening off illusions. Phantasm up in 10.
Gabby, once again, wanting to be the target, trying to be the person to break the smokes, get the information. He's got that cheese still after all. Kataomi blinking forward, trying to get an initiation. 33 gets his jump on the Invoker, immediately the Cataclysm. Skeeter already down to half health. Pops Phantasm, tries to go back to Watson, but Watson is kiting this one out. They don't need to fight him right now. Oh, the Soulbind double pull back in. Could that be good enough? No, the Terrorize pushed away all the Chaos Knight. 33, he jumps in, trying to control up Watson as long as possible, but the song goes off, bails him out, and now he starts healing back up. Gabby's ready to get this going already, popping that trample, wants to be able to lay down these cores. 33 with a Sandstorm trying to protect himself. If those impales can do enough, maybe they can still turn this one. Maybe Tundra still has a chance as Gator goes back in, trying to go for the big primal beast, but he is tickling him. It is not real damage. Thompson is draining a lot though. Maybe it's Thompson who can do this one, but the silences are still a problem. Out of the BKBs, he's doing what damage he can, but the heart, he's rectifying any bit of damage that is being done. Entity are healing up time after time, and the Ice Blast will that heal out of the place. This fight has gone on so long, but no heroes of Entity are dying, and every single one of them of Tundra will fall.
They just can't kill anybody. There's way too much sustain in these types of fights. Especially this Naga song. You're healing up heroes with percentage off of such high HP pools here. Gabby, I would love to see the amount of damage Gabby has taken this game. They probably killed him 10 times over, and yet still not once.
Yeah.
I mean, Tundra are putting out the deeps. It's just not all going into one target. It's all getting spread. 33 does find Stormstormer again. This is the target you want. Another great Soulbind, and what does it yield? The song resets everything. You still have some BKB duration up, and then Gabby just goes to town. Not to mention second Ice Blast. I mean, you can't win the fight off one. The second one should do the trick here. Now you're just looking at potentially Megas.
Yeah, Tundra, they don't have the buybacks to be able to contest this really with their full squad. This is looking like the buildings are going to die too quickly. Les Thompson can somehow persuade them not to hit the buildings and go for him instead. 33
damage.
Jumps forward, so two-man Burrow Strike, not too bad. Cataclysm goes out. Thompson's got to dodge that one, but 33 can't dodge anything, not when he's being grabbed by the Primal Beast. Locked down there. More draining from Thompson, and they are going to be able to force Entity back here. They respect the fact that with that buyback from 33, they still could get caught in a sticky situation. They leave that final melee barrack still up.
Thompson is struggling, man. Life Drain is an okay spell, but it just looks like it doesn't exist in this game. You have cores with 50% plus magic resist sitting on heart regen. It literally doesn't lower your HP at all.
Yeah, and the whole idea we're talking about with the Aghanim Scepter maybe lowering some of the damage that's coming out from these heroes, particularly the Primal Beast. Maybe he starts doing nothing in these fights. Well, it's only just now here. All these long life drains, he didn't have the X.
So at least now you're getting some utility effect out of it.
Yep.
But you cannot rely on this
part of damage. Got the Bloodthorn. Watson does not put his hero in danger. He lets Gabby charge for it. You say, you take him out. I'm going to wait for that second life. And sure enough, Skeeter does a buy. He immediately buys back. Soulbind onto 2 cores here is pretty nice, but the Song of Siren ruins everything.
Look at the blast.
Here comes the Ice Blast, lined up, goes straight for 9 and Thompson. Thompson pops his BKB, trying to kite backwards. Gabby's going to be the target once again, puts himself forward, gets the Dispel, turns around, goes for Thompson without that BKB. Yeah, they'll just pound those bounds into dust.
Skeeter finally back. He still has no Phantasm for 9, however.
Yeah, he's doing absolutely no damage with just his hero. In fact, he pops the BKB, and now he doesn't do anything as Gabby once again grabbing hold of these heroes, not letting them go anywhere through this one. Runs over the Sand King as well, and Entity do it.